All right, now let's look at the EdTech industry now. We see it's a combination of education and technology. And we see stakeholders in the education sector have restated the need to invest in information and communication to deepen the growth and adoption of EdTech solutions for, learning in Nigeria. So we're going to be heading back to our Abuja studio now to get a sense of how some companies right here are pushing the EdTech agenda right here in the country. Joining me for this conversation, we have Nicholas Albueze, Senior Vice President in charge of Africa. And we have Adedeji Michael Ladipo, Country Director, Head of Business PGM, Anthology's channel partner for Nigeria. We also have Joseph Odo, Director of ICT at TED Fund, all joining us from our Abuja studio. Great to have all three of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So I'll start with you, Mr. Nicholas. So the term EdTech is becoming quite popular these days. Looking at education in Africa, Nigeria, take for instance Nigeria, the strike culture negatively impacts schools. How does EdTech address, these kind of issues?
That EdTech is a fantastic way to address those kind of challenges. And the reason why I do believe that is because EdTech help to address many learners at the same time in a remote yet very convenient way, bringing quality education at scale, which is something quite unprecedented. And through the program we're currently running, thanks to the TED Fund organization, thanks, of course, to the Executive Secretary from TED Fund, and thanks to the support we're receiving from the Minister of Education, we believe that that's actually the best way for us to support the education and the growth of education within the country at scale.
Let me come to Mr. Adedeji now. Looking at Nigeria's education gap, right now, and I'm sure you have, knowledge of how it really works, here in Nigeria. Talk to me about how, the solution Anthology, is bringing can actually help in, closing that education gap right here.
So first of all, we're taking it from the avenue whereby it's making it easier for the lecturers to teach, and it's making it more efficient for the students to learn. Because once you create an enabling environment whereby teaching and learning are easier, then you have greater collaboration and greater results. And that's what technology brings to the forefront of education. And the project we're running with TED Fund will be changing the face of education in Nigeria. So we are thankful to TED Fund and the support given by the Honorable Minister, and in particular, the focus this government has in changing education in Nigeria.
And let me talk to Mr. Joseph Odo, the Director of ICT at TED Fund. We saw that TED Fund selected, the learning management system, of Anthology. It's called a Blackboard Learn. Tell us why you chose this system.
If we look at the ICT Trust for the Ministry of Education, we see that one of its needs is to provide a common ICT infrastructure platform for education at all levels. And also, when you look at the TED Fund mandate to provision for improving education in tertiary education institutions all across the country, especially public education institutions, it makes it mandatory for us to be able to invest in solving common problems across tertiary institutions in the country. And using ICT platforms makes it easier for us to reach a wider scale of students and of lecturers. So ICT enables you to increase access to education. It enables you to also increase the availability of learning resources. And we established TERAS, Tertiary Education Research Applications and Services, to be able to address problems that are common to all our tertiary institutions. Blackboard is one of our flagship programs because with Blackboard, the students and the lecturers, we enjoy a community of more than 4,000 tertiary institutions globally. Equally, with the learning management system that Blackboard presents to us, it is going to improve access to education, improve access to a lot of educational resources globally. And through the TERAS platform, we'll have increased access. We will enable institutions to meet their individual mandates, meet their accreditation needs, improve on their ranking, standardize the platforms that they are using for access, and generally make sure that the mandate of the fund is achieved and also the educational milestones that the government wants to achieve are also achieved.
And Mr. Joseph, do you see any risk to this Blackboard Learn platform at this time? You know, looking at internet penetration in the country, does it impact it, you know, negatively? Looking at where we are right now with internet penetration.
There are many of the common challenges that the fund is addressing presently. Equally, access to internet will increase because of the policy trust that the fund is moving. Thanks to the Executive Secretary, he is making use of ICT as an enabler to achieve the fund's mandate in tertiary institutions. And one of these is to make sure that we provide mobile and fixed internet access. We have already started working on the mobile provisioning of internet access, and hopefully next year we'll also be working on provisioning fixed internet access to institutions. Yes, internet access availability is a challenge, power is a challenge, access to platforms for education resources is also a challenge, and that's why we have introduced the TERAS platform. Key also within this TERAS platform is the beneficiary identity management platform that will enable us have students and lecturers come into TERAS and make use of free internet that will be available to whitelisted sites. These whitelisted sites will include Blackboard as we move on the project. We include electronic journals subscriptions, which we started now with IPSCO, and many other educational resources that will come into the platform. So access to internet will increasingly be improved, and this will make sure that learning resources become available to the students and also to the teaching and non-teaching staff.
All right, let me quickly go to Mr. Nicholas Albuzi now. Let's talk affordability. We know right now a lot of households are squeezed. We see income is squeezed. There's a cost of living crisis right now in Nigeria and most parts of Africa. Talk to me about affordability. How affordable is this platform, and how will it help, you know, Nigerians that can't really afford, you know, other forms of education at this time?
Sure. So to answer that question, I think you need to understand that from an Anthology standpoint of view, we really leverage what we call the corporate social leadership program, which means that we consider that education should be a right, and it should be a right for everyone. Therefore, when we approach that specific project, we decided to take an angle where profitability wasn't something important to us. The most important was to make sure that the project was a success and that we could meet the requirement of going through volumes. Nigeria is a giant. It's a giant for Africa. It's a giant for the world, and we really want to make and increase the quality of education in Nigeria. We are lucky enough to have great experience. For example, we have a nationwide project happening in Saudi Arabia, where we've been partnering with the government for 10 years, and we saw how that increased drastically, how they raise up into the ranking. And I think we can bring that to Nigeria in a way shorter amount of time, and that will bring outstanding results. So that would be my answer, is we're in that together. We want to make sure we're making a difference, and therefore everything that is related to the cost is something that we make extremely affordable to address the volumes that we're talking about and make education better.
Fantastic. I'll definitely be looking out for affordability, going forward at this time with the solution Anthology is bringing. I want to thank all three of you for coming on the show. Nicholas Albuz, Senior Vice President in charge of Africa for Anthology, and Adedeji Michael Ladipo, Country Director and Head of Business PGM at Anthology's channel partner for Nigeria, and Mr. Joseph Odo, Director of ICT at TETFund. It was great having all three of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.